You're thinking about getting a Beagle. Maybe you've already fallen for those droopy eyes and that tricolor coat. But before you bring one home, there are 9 things about this breed that most people discover too late. Usually around month 3 when their neighbors start complaining about the howling, or when they find their couch cushion shredded for the 4th time. Subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to learn will determine whether a Beagle becomes your perfect companion or your biggest regret. Number 1. The nose that runs your life. Your Beagle's nose contains approximately 220 million scent receptors, compared to your measly 5 million. And this single biological fact will dominate every aspect of your relationship with this dog. Research from Auburn University's Canine Performance Sciences program shows that Beagles were selectively bred over centuries to follow scent trails for miles, shutting down nearly every other brain function when an interesting smell appears. And this isn't a quirk you can train away, because it's hardwired into their neural architecture at a level deeper than obedience or loyalty. When you're walking your Beagle and they suddenly lock onto a scent, their prefrontal cortex essentially goes offline. You become invisible. Your voice becomes background noise. The entire world collapses into a single olfactory pathway, leading them toward whatever rabbit, squirrel, or discarded hamburger wrapper triggered their hunting instinct. Studies on scent hound behavior, published by veterinary behaviorists, show that trying to recall a Beagle mid-scent is like trying to wake someone from a vivid dream by whispering from across the room. Their body floods with dopamine, their heart rate spikes, and every muscle commits to the chase. This means you'll never have the off-leash hiking companion you see in those Instagram videos, unless you have a fenced area. Because one interesting scent can send your Beagle sprinting into traffic, through neighborhoods, across fields, completely deaf to your screaming. The nose doesn't just influence their behavior. It is their behavior. Number 2. The voice that never stops. Beagles don't bark the way other dogs bark. They bay, they howl, they produce a sound that behavioral acoustics researchers describe as specifically engineered to carry across hunting terrain for over a mile. And your apartment walls will do absolutely nothing to contain it. When Beagle vocalization patterns were analyzed in studies from the University of Pennsylvania's Veterinary Behavior Clinic, researchers found that these dogs possess an unusually large larynx relative to their body size, and a vocal range that hits frequencies designed to alert human hunters from extreme distances. Your Beagle will use this voice when they're excited, when they're bored, when they smell something interesting through the window, when a leaf moves suspicingly in the yard, when you leave them alone for 20 minutes, when the mailman exists. The sound is not a cute cartoon howl. It's a penetrating, relentless, wall-shaking noise that your neighbors will hear through closed windows, and that will get you violation notices if you live in an apartment with noise restrictions. Ethologists studying hound communication have documented that Beagles vocalize as a self-rewarding behavior, meaning they're not doing it to get your attention or because something is wrong. They do it because the act of baying releases neurochemicals that feel good to them, which is why punishment doesn't work, and why you can't simply train it away. You can manage it with enough exercise and mental stimulation, but you need to accept right now that you're adopting a dog whose default setting is loud. If you work from home taking video calls, if you have neighbors who complain easily, if you value quiet evenings, this breed will break you. Number 3. The stomach that never fills. Beagles were bred to work long hunting days on minimal food, which created a survival adaptation that veterinary nutritionists call hyperphagia, a genetic predisposition to eat everything available because the next meal might not come. Your Beagle will act starving 10 minutes after finishing a full bowl of food. They will eat until they vomit, and then try to eat the vomit. They will consume things that aren't food, chocolate, socks, entire sticks of butter, houseplants, because their brain's satiety signals are fundamentally broken in ways that studies from Cornell's College of Veterinary Medicine link directly to selective breeding for endurance hunting. This isn't cute food motivation you can use for training treats. This is a medical predisposition to obesity and a safety hazard that requires you to dog-proof your home like you're preventing a toddler from accessing poison. Every cabinet needs a child lock. Every trash can needs a lid they can't flip. You cannot leave food on counters, even pushed back, because Beagles are surprisingly athletic when food is involved and will figure out how to climb, jump, or knock over furniture to reach it. Research on Beagle weight management published in veterinary obesity journals shows that over 60% of pet Beagles are overweight or obese because owners either don't understand the breed's inability to self-regulate Or they misinterpret the dog's constant food seeking as genuine hunger. Your Beagle will stare at you with those heartbreaking eyes while you eat, perfecting a look of starvation that makes you feel cruel for not sharing. But giving in creates a 30-pound dog with joint problems, diabetes risk, and a shortened lifespan. You have to be the barrier between your Beagle and their own self-destructive appetites every single day. Number 4. The independence that feels like betrayal. Golden retrievers were bred to watch their handler's face and await instruction. Beagles were bred to run ahead of hunters, make independent decisions, and solve problems without human input, which means your Beagle will regularly choose their own judgment over your commands. Canine cognition research from the University of Tokyo comparing breed-specific responsiveness found that scent hounds score significantly lower on obedience metrics. Not because they're unintelligent, but because they were selected for centuries to value their nose over their owner's voice. When you call your Beagle and they ignore you, they're not being stubborn or dominant. Their brain is weighing your command against the scent trail they're following, and the scent trail is connected to reward pathways that are neurologically stronger than your approval. Studies tracking cortisol and dopamine levels in working scent hounds show that following a scent produces a chemical reward response more powerful than praise, treats, or affection from their owner, which is why positive reinforcement training works slower and less reliably with this breed than with dogs bred for biddability. You'll spend months teaching a recall that works perfectly in your living room and fails completely at the park because a new smell overrides all that training in seconds. This creates moments where you feel like your Beagle doesn't love you or respect you. But respect isn't the framework they operate in. They love you deeply, but they were built to trust their nose more than any human. And that design will test your patience in ways that people who've only owned labs or poodles won't understand. You need a different kind of relationship with a Beagle, one where you accept that you're partnering with an independent thinker, not commanding a willing follower. Number 5. The energy that doesn't match the size. Beagles are compact dogs, usually 20 to 30 pounds, and people assume that means they're low-energy apartment dogs. But research from the Canine Exercise Physiology Lab at North Carolina State University shows that Beagles were bred to run for 8 to 10 hours straight during hunts. And that stamina didn't disappear just because yours lives in a suburb. Your Beagle needs a minimum of 60 to 90 minutes of real exercise daily, not a 15-minute walk around the block. Because under-exercised Beagles develop what veterinary behaviorists call displacement behaviors, destructive actions that redirect their unused energy toward your belongings. They'll dig through your carpet trying to tunnel. They'll chew through furniture legs, door frames, baseboards. They'll bark for hours because their body is flooded with energy that has nowhere to go. Studies on working breed exercise requirements published in applied animal behavior journals found that scent hounds specifically need mental stimulation alongside physical exercise because their brains are wired to solve problems, track patterns, and make decisions. Which means a tired Beagle isn't just a walked Beagle, but one who spent time using their nose in challenging ways like sniff games, scent trails, or puzzle feeders. If you work 10-hour days and come home too exhausted to engage your dog, if you think a backyard means the dog will exercise themselves, if your idea of dog ownership is mostly coexistence with occasional interaction, a Beagle will destroy your home and your sanity. They need a job, even if that job is finding hidden treats in the yard, because a bored Beagle is a destructive Beagle. And no amount of scolding will fix what inadequate exercise creates. Number 6. The health issues that empty your wallet. Beagles are prone to specific genetic conditions that responsible breeders test for, but that many backyard breeders and pet stores ignore. And if you buy from the wrong source, you're setting yourself up for years of expensive veterinary care. Research published by the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals shows that Beagles have elevated risks for hip dysplasia, intervertebral disc disease, and epilepsy. All conditions with genetic components that reputable breeders screen parent dogs for before breeding. Cherry eye. A prolapse of the third eyelid gland occurs in Beagles at rates significantly higher than average and requires surgical correction that costs between $500 to $1,500 per eye. Their long, floppy ears create a warm, moist environment, perfect for bacterial and yeast infections. And veterinary dermatology studies show that Beagles are among the top breeds for chronic ear infections that require ongoing medication and regular vet visits. Hypothyroidism appears in Beagles more frequently than in most breeds, causing weight gain, lethargy, and skin problems that need lifelong thyroid medication and monitoring. The same food obsession that makes them constantly hungry also makes them experts at eating things that cause intestinal blockages, foreign body surgeries that cost thousands of dollars and sometimes require emergency intervention. If you're choosing a Beagle because they're cheaper than a designer breed, factor in that you might spend that difference and more on medical bills if you don't get a dog from health-tested parents. Pet insurance is not optional with this breed. It's a financial necessity unless you have several $1,000s sitting in savings for emergency vet care, because eventually your Beagle will eat something they shouldn't or develop one of the conditions their genetics predispose them toward. Number 7. The separation anxiety that traps you. Beagles are packhounds, bred to work in groups, and behavioral studies from Tufts University's Animal Behavior Clinic show that dogs bred for pack work are significantly more prone to separation anxiety than breeds developed for independent tasks. Your Beagle will bond intensely to your family and struggle profoundly when left alone, not because you've spoiled them, but because their genetic blueprint tells them that being separated from their pack means danger. When you leave for work, your Beagle's cortisol levels spike. Their heart rate increases. They enter a state that researchers describe as panic, not mere boredom. And this panic drives the howling that gets you noise complaints, the destruction that ruins your furniture, and sometimes the house soiling that happens even in fully potty-trained dogs. Studies using heart rate monitors and cortisol testing in dogs with separation anxiety show that the distress is real and physiological, not manipulative behavior, which means punishment makes it worse by adding fear to their panic. Managing this requires serious commitment. Crate training from puppyhood, gradual desensitization to your departures, possibly medication in severe cases, and accepting that you can't leave your Beagle alone for 8 or 10 hours without consequences. Some Beagles do fine alone. Many don't. If your lifestyle involves long work hours with no option for dog daycare, midday walks, or a work-from-home setup, you need to seriously reconsider this breed. The anxiety isn't a training failure on your part. It's a feature of dogs whose ancestors died if they got separated from the pack. And that survival instinct doesn't care that you're just going to target for an hour. Number 8. The prey drive that kills relationships. Beagles were designed to chase and corner small animals, and that instinct will make cohabitation with cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, or small dogs a gamble that many owners lose. Research on predatory behavior in hunting breeds from the University of Bristol's Anthrozoology Institute found that prey drive is one of the most difficult instincts to modify through training because it's connected to ancient neural pathways that bypass conscious decision-making. Your Beagle might live peacefully with your cat for 2 years, and then one day, when the cat runs in just the right way, the chase instinct flips on like a switch, and suddenly you're dealing with an injured or dead pet and a dog you're terrified of. Studies tracking multi-pet households with scent hounds show significantly higher rates of predatory incidents compared to herding or companion breeds, and the triggers are unpredictable. A high-pitched squeak, a sudden movement, the other animal acting sick or vulnerable. Some Beagles never show aggression toward other pets. Some are fine until they're not. If you already have small animals and you're adding a Beagle to the household, you're playing probability games with lives you care about. Even with extensive socialization, you cannot train away an instinct that's been refined through hundreds of generations of selective breeding. You can manage it with supervision, separation, and controlled interactions, but you'll never eliminate the risk completely. People who've successfully raised Beagles with cats will tell you it's possible, and it is, but they'll also tell you about the constant vigilance required, the baby gates that divide their home, the fact that they never fully relax when both animals are in the same room. That's the reality you're choosing if you want a Beagle in a multi-pet home. Number 9. The commitment that changes your life. Every point until now has been building toward this single truth. A Beagle will limit your freedom in ways that other breeds won't, and you need to decide right now if you're willing to restructure your life around their needs. You can't take spontaneous weekend trips without arranging specialized care because standard boarding facilities struggle with Beagles who howl constantly or escape from enclosures. You can't move into any apartment you want because many landlords ban Beagles specifically due to noise complaints from previous tenants. You can't have a casual approach to fencing or leashes because one moment of inattention can send your Beagle running into danger they'll never see coming. Research on owner satisfaction across different breeds shows that Beagle owners report higher stress levels and more lifestyle adjustments than owners of comparably sized breeds, but they also report profound bonds and relationships they describe as worth every sacrifice once they accepted what the breed required. The difference between Beagle owners who rehome their dogs within a year and those who keep them for life comes down to expectations. If you're expecting an easy, biddable, quiet companion who fits seamlessly into your existing routine, you'll be blindsided by reality, and you'll resent the dog for being exactly what they were bred to be. But if you're choosing a Beagle with clear eyes, knowing about the nose that overrides training, the voice that carries through walls, the appetite that never stops, the independence that frustrates, the energy that demands outlets, the health issues that cost money, the anxiety that limits your freedom, and the prey drive that complicates multi-pet homes, then you're positioned to build something real, with a dog whose loyalty, once earned, is absolute. When your Beagle chooses to come back to you despite every scent trail calling them away, when they press their body against yours after a long day, when they look at you with eyes that know you see them clearly and love them anyway, you'll understand why people who truly know this breed wouldn't choose any other. Share this video with anyone considering a Beagle. Subscribe to the channel for more honest breed information that prepares you for the reality of dog ownership. And remember that the right dog isn't the easiest dog, but the one whose needs match what you're actually able to give.